Welcome back. This one gets into the myths that actually mess with people's heads.
We're talking orgasm, pelvic floor health, penis size, and why shame is doing the most.
Shame really has a whole career in this space.
And the wild part is most of it is just bad information wearing confidence.
The first thing that hit me was how normal sex is way shorter than people think.
Bro, the stopwatch studies are humiliating for our imaginations.
Humans are out here planning for an hour, and reality says 5 minutes.
And then everyone acts personally attacked by the calendar.
But that also explains why people are so stressed about performance.
Exactly. Because if you think sex must be a whole event, you turn it into pressure.
So the real issue is not time. It is the story we attach to time.
Yes, and the story is usually way more dramatic than the body needs.
The orgasm explanation was actually better than most movies give us.
Because movies think a sparkly face and a loud noise is enough.
Like, congratulations, you have invented absolutely nothing.
It is more like a climb, not a switch, and rhythm matters a lot.
That balloon with a whole image was weirdly perfect.
Weirdly perfect is the whole point of good sex education.
And the male climax average being around 5 minutes is insane to me.
It is also hilarious that men assume they are the long-form version.
Meanwhile, women are often taking longer and getting less attention.
That mismatch is why the first conversation should not be about ego.
So the clitoris is still the reliable route, basically.
Usually, yes, and that alone should have changed sex ed ages ago.
But sex ed was busy teaching us things nobody needed and nothing people did need.
Truly, a curriculum designed by someone afraid of joy.
The pelvic floor part got even more interesting for me.
Because it connects to urination, pain, orgasm, erections, everything.
Wait, the same muscles can affect all of that?
Yes, and that is why people misread symptoms all the time.
So stress incontinence is not some random weak moment, it is mechanics.
Right, and prolapse is not about sex frequency either.
That myth really needs to retire in shame.
It needs to be escorted out by security.
Childbirth, aging, collagen, standing all day, that is the real list.
And then people blame normal sex for things that are actually muscle health.
Kegels are basically the celebrity version of pelvic floor work.
They have absurdly good PR for one exercise.
They really won the entire branding war.
But even then, the biggest mistake is people never relax the muscle.
So they are doing emotional damage and physical damage at once.
Exactly. They are speed-running failure.
The rectal exam explanation was also very practical, oddly enough.
It is practical, and it makes pelvic floor issues less mystical.
Still sounds like a rough day at the office.
It can be uncomfortable, but discomfort is sometimes the point of the diagnosis.
Then we got to penis size, which is where every man becomes a physicist.
Suddenly, everybody has body math and fake confidence.
The traction device thing surprised me because it is not magic, it is tissue stretching.
And it takes time, which is the part people hate.
Everyone wants enlargement. Nobody wants the calendar.
Exactly. And pumps are really about erection support, not length.
So half the market is selling the fantasy, not the mechanism.
Pretty much. And that is why people need more honesty than hype.
I also love the point that average size is usually what people actually prefer.
Yes, porn distorts expectations more than it improves satisfaction.
Porn is basically terrible sexual education with great lighting.
And nobody asks the production team for consent-based realism.
The idea that large size can actually be painful is such an important correction.
It is because pleasure is about fit and feedback, not domination by default.
Same with vagina size myths, they are just lazy moralism.
Exactly. Sex does not permanently loosen the vagina.
Imagine blaming geometry on character.
Human beings love inventing a punishment for women.
The labiaplasty part felt more nuanced than people online make it.
Because sometimes it is comfort, and sometimes it is insecurity shaped by porn.
Both can be true, which is annoying for simple-minded takes.
Very annoying, yes, but real life is inconvenient.
And then squirting is basically the most confusing thing in the whole episode.
Because nobody has bothered to study it properly.
So there is lubrication, female ejaculate, and squirting as separate things?
Yes, and people mash them together because pornography does.
Porn really does love the misleading category.
And even the fluid source is still debated, which is fascinating.
That uncertainty actually feels honest for medicine.
It does, because not everything gets a neat answer right away.
What I keep coming back to is the main message that sexual health is just health.
That is the whole thing, and people still separate it from the rest of medicine.
Which is absurd because ED can even flag cardiovascular problems.
Exactly. The body is not politely isolating problems for us.
The body really is a nosy little informer.
It snitches before your ego is ready.
And the mindfulness piece is huge because anxiety can hijack everything.
Yes, focus improves desire, arousal, lubrication, orgasm, all of it.
Which means sex is partly physical and partly attention management.
That is such a good way to say it.
Also, scheduling intimacy instead of scheduling sex feels smarter.
Because it removes the performance trap and leaves room for connection.
And maybe a little less calendar-induced panic.
Which honestly is already therapeutic.
The closing idea about choosing a partner well was strong.
It was because your partner affects your peace, your work, your health, everything.
That is almost the least romantic advice and the most useful advice.
The best advice is often annoyingly unsexy.
But it is true. A toxic partner can wreck every other part of life.
And a supportive partner can make you function at a completely different level.
That feels like the perfect place to end this whole series.
Absolutely, and if anything, the big takeaway is stop being ashamed and start being informed.
Easy to say, hard for the internet to do.
The internet will survive its learning curve.
Thanks for riding through all 3 episodes with us.
And we'll see you next time with more conversations that people avoid but absolutely need.
Welcome back. This one gets into sexual health, pelvic floor function, and all the myths we drag around.
And honestly, it's the episode where the body stuff gets weirdly fascinating.
Weirdly fascinating is such a polite way to say it.
Wait, the most reliable path to orgasm is still clitoral stimulation, right?
Yeah, and that alone exposes how badly people are educated about sex.
Because people act like penetration is the whole event, which is just not true.
Porn really did a number on the public syllabus.
The public syllabus is embarrassingly incomplete.
What I found wild was the timing, like men averaging about 5 minutes.
And women averaging around 14 minutes to orgasm is just brutal math.
That is a relationship design problem, not a moral failure.
Exactly. And the mismatch is why foreplay cannot be treated like a bonus round.
People still talk about sex like there is one correct script.
And then the script gets compared to porn, which makes everyone feel bad.
That comparison machine is honestly one of the ugliest parts of modern intimacy.
The good news is that sexual health is not separate from health.
That point keeps hitting harder every time, especially with erectile dysfunction.
Right, because it can be an early warning sign of cardiovascular disease.
Which means a bedroom problem can actually be a heart problem.
And that is why shame is such a bad healthcare strategy.
Shame never fixed a single artery.
That is a horrible sentence and also completely correct.
The pelvic floor part was another rabbit hole for me.
Same, because it affects urination, pain, erections, ejaculation, orgasm, everything.
People think it is some niche fitness thing, but it is core body mechanics.
And weak pelvic floor does not mean a woman has had too much sex.
That myth needed to be sent to jail years ago.
It really did, because childbirth, collagen issues, and aging are the real factors.
Plus, stress incontinence and prolapse are real medical issues, not embarrassment material.
And for men, pelvic floor issues can show up as pain or weaker ejaculation.
Which is wild, because guys are usually told almost nothing about any of this.
The Kegel thing is hilarious too, because everyone knows the word and almost nobody does it right.
Kegels have better marketing than most billion-dollar companies.
And still people do the dumb gym thing of never relaxing between reps.
I did like the idea of pelvic floor physical therapists being like trainers.
Exactly, because some people need technique, not just advice and Googling.
Google is a terrible pelvic floor coach, by the way.
Horrible coach, great at panic.
Then there is penis size, which men somehow make into a personality trait.
Men would make a parking spot into a personality trait if they could.
Fair, and the traction device answer was way more grounded than I expected.
Yeah, because pumps do not really increase length, they mostly help with erections.
And the surgical options sound like a comedy of complications.
Exactly, and the main thing is people deserve honest information, not hype.
Because porn has basically trained people to think average is inadequate.
And that creates insecurity even when the data says most people prefer average.
The nose length thing was the funniest useless fact in the whole conversation.
Imagine spending your life waiting for the nose to reveal the truth.
Society is one nose measurement away from a total breakdown.
And the age-related changes matter too, because blood flow is everything.
Right. Erections are not just about desire, they are about vascular health.
Which is why nighttime erections are such a useful sign of healthy tissue.
The body is basically doing maintenance while you sleep.
Your penis has a night shift and men are not appreciating the labor.
That is the most disrespectful but accurate thing said today.
The labiaplasty part also felt important because the pressure is so visual.
Yeah, and people forget anatomy is wildly diverse before porn normalizes one look.
Some people do it for comfort, which is very different from cosmetic shame.
That distinction matters a lot, because not every procedure is vanity.
And then the squirting conversation was the most confusing and honest part.
Because nobody actually knows, which is rare and refreshing.
There may be female ejaculate, squirting, lubrication, and maybe dilute urine in the mix.
So the internet turned a poorly understood fluid into a whole performance genre.
The internet does love a misunderstanding with good lighting.
What I liked is that she did not pretend the science is more settled than it is.
Yeah, that honesty is the whole point, especially in sexual health.
Also, the closing message was basically, stop treating sexual health like a side quest.
It is health, period, and ignoring it affects everything from mood to work to relationships.
That line about choosing the right partner hit the hardest for me.
Because one supportive partner can raise the ceiling on your whole life.
And one toxic partner can quietly wreck all the progress you are making elsewhere.
Which is such a brutal but useful place to end the series.
Brutal, useful, and annoyingly true.
Thanks for staying with us through all 3 episodes.
We hope this conversation made the awkward stuff feel a little less mysterious.
And a lot more human.
We will see you next time with more conversations people avoid, but absolutely need.
Welcome back. This is the last one, and we are getting into the myths people carry around sex, bodies, and what is normal.
And the wild part is how much of it is just bad education wearing confidence.
That is basically the internet in one sentence.
The biggest one is that everybody thinks their experience is broken when it is just average.
The average being much less glamorous than people imagine, right?
Very unglamorous, very uncinematic, very not the movie version.
Movie sex has ruined more expectations than probably anything else.
And porn just adds extra nonsense on top of that.
Especially for women because the timing gap is huge and nobody talks about it honestly.
That part shocked me because the average male climax is around 5 minutes.
And the average female orgasm can take around 14 minutes, which is such a mismatch.
Bro, if the whole event is built around one person finishing early, that is not a system.
It is a system, it is just a bad one.
And that explains why so many women end up not getting there at all.
Which also makes the clitoris sound less like a footnote and more like the main character.
Finally, the sequel nobody was funding.
But seriously, the idea that there is one kind of orgasm is just false.
Right, because different nerves are involved depending on the stimulation.
Exactly. And that is why people can feel stimulation from different areas in different ways.
So the body is basically not one switch. It is a whole control panel.
That is a much better metaphor than the way people talk about it online.
And the other thing I keep thinking about is the rhythm piece.
Yes, because arousal is a climb. See, not a light switch.
The balloon with a tiny hole in it description was rude but perfect.
It was so rude, but I immediately understood it.
And that is the killer, because people stop, get distracted, and the whole momentum drops.
Which is why mindfulness came up so much, because people are in their heads instead of in their bodies.
That is probably true for more sex than anyone wants to admit.
And it is not just about sex, it is about stress, trust, and whether you can actually relax.
I liked that she kept pushing the idea of scheduling intimacy instead of scheduling pressure.
That distinction matters so much, because a calendar invite for panic is not sexy.
Imagine opening your calendar and seeing emotional performance review at 8 p.m.
And please arrive hydrated and confident.
Brutal.
But the deeper point is that sexual health is part of health, not some separate weird category.
That framing is powerful because shame makes people ignore real symptoms.
Like erectile dysfunction not always being just a bedroom issue.
Yeah, sometimes it is an early cardiovascular warning sign.
Which is insane because people are embarrassed when they should actually be paying attention.
Exactly. And that is why this stuff belongs in medicine conversations, not joke conversations only.
Although jokes do help people admit they are confused in the first place.
True, because nobody walks into a clinic saying, "Please help my myth baggage."
Myth baggage is such a good phrase.
The pelvic floor piece was another huge one because people think loose means sexual history.
And that is just not how bodies work.
It is about childbirth, muscle weakness, neurological issues, collagen issues, and life.
And also the opposite problem, where the pelvic floor is too tight and starts causing pain.
Right, back pain, hip pain, painful sex, painful erections, even bathroom problems.
Which is wild because people would never connect all those dots themselves.
The exam part was fascinating too because it is not just a vague guess.
It can be a rectal exam in men, and that is how they actually assess those muscles.
I mean, nobody is excited about that appointment.
No, but discomfort is better than missing something important.
And the Kegel thing is funny because everyone has heard of it, but almost nobody does it right.
Kegels are like the most famous exercise nobody understands.
The celebrity with the worst instruction manual.
I am stealing that.
The key is squeezing and relaxing, not just clenching forever like a maniac.
Which sounds obvious until you realize half the internet would absolutely tell you to clench harder.
And then there is the whole penis size obsession, which is basically insecurities with marketing.
It is also porn teaching people that bigger automatically means better.
When the actual evidence says average is usually what people prefer.
Around 6 inches in fantasy, around average in reality, and reality wins more often than not.
Reality is so disrespectful to internet confidence.
It really is.
And the part about traction devices was interesting because it is one of the few things with real evidence.
But it takes time, consistency, and not expecting a miracle from a gadget.
Medicine, the eternal enemy of instant gratification.
Beautifully put.
And pumps sound dramatic, but they are really more about erections than length.
Which is important because people buy the fantasy before they buy the science.
The body image piece on both sides felt really compassionate to me.
Yeah, because shame is usually the first thing that shows up and the last thing that leaves.
Especially with labiaplasty, where women are seeing tiny, filtered, unrealistic versions online.
And most labia are just normal variations, not problems needing correction.
Unless there is pain or friction, and then it is a different conversation.
Exactly, because intention matters more than aesthetics there.
The internet really has everyone thinking their genitals need a brand refresh.
That is disgusting and accurate.
And then squirting, which is probably the most overhyped and misunderstood topic of the whole episode.
Because people confuse lubrication, ejaculate, and squirting like they are the same fluid.
And they are not, even if the science is still messy on exactly where every part comes from.
That is the annoying truth, though, because the body does not care about our clean categories.
The body refuses to cooperate with the spreadsheet generation.
The spreadsheet generation is such a mean but accurate thing to say.
What I loved most was her saying sexual health is health and should be taught young.
Because if you leave people with silence, porn becomes the teacher by default.
And that teacher is chaotic, incomplete, and full of garbage assumptions.
A truly terrible professor.
The biggest takeaway for me is that symptoms are information, not embarrassment.
That line feels like the whole series, honestly.
It does, because whether it is pain, desire, erections, or anxiety, the body is talking.
And if the body is talking, ignoring it is the expensive option.
Very expensive, emotionally and medically.
I also liked the reminder that the right partner can raise your entire ceiling.
And the wrong one can drag every part of your life down.
That feels like a good place to leave this whole series.
Yeah, less shame, more honesty, more actual literacy about our own bodies.
and maybe fewer people believing the loudest myth in the room.
Which is a very ambitious but very necessary goal.
Thanks for staying with us through all 3 episodes.
We hope it made the awkward stuff feel a little less weird and a lot more human.
And if it did, then we did our job.
See you next time for more conversations people avoid but absolutely need.
Welcome back. This is the final one, and we are in the myth destruction zone.
Honestly, this episode is just one long reality check with receipts.
And the wild part is how much of it is basic health, not taboo drama.
That part keeps hitting me, because we keep treating symptoms like secrets.
Like erectile dysfunction can literally be an early heart warning sign.
Right, and somehow people still act like that is just a bedside joke.
The body really said, I am not being subtle today.
It is brutal, but also kind of amazing that the signal shows up there first.
Because that shifts the whole conversation from shame to screening.
Exactly, and that is a massive change in how men should think about it.
Then there is the whole normal sex frequency thing, which people treat like a scoreboard.
Most couples being around once a week is so unglamorous and so relieving.
The internet wants you to believe everybody is having some cinematic marathon.
Meanwhile, real life is like tired, stressed, and maybe Thursday if we are lucky.
And the biggest lie is that longer automatically means better.
Yeah, because the actual question is whether both people enjoyed it.
Which sounds obvious until you realize so many encounters are built around one person finishing.
The timing difference was the part that cooked me, because it is just not equal.
Men averaging about 5 minutes and women closer to 14 is a huge mismatch.
And yet people still act shocked when foreplay matters.
Foreplay is not a bonus level, it is the actual level.
That is such a good line and also somehow painfully true.
The orgasm conversation was important too, because people act like it is a switch.
But it is more like a build, a climb, a rhythm thing.
And if the rhythm gets interrupted, the whole thing can fall apart.
Basically, the body is very rude about momentum.
Very rude, yes, but also very specific.
I also liked how she broke down pelvic floor function because people never think about it.
It affects urination, pain, erections, ejaculation, orgasm, everything people ignore until it gets loud.
And then they are surprised a weak pelvic floor can show up as leakage or discomfort.
Or the other way around, too much tension can show up as pain everywhere.
That rectal exam explanation was intense but also super practical.
Medicine remains deeply committed to making embarrassment a diagnostic tool.
That is disgusting and accurate.
The Kegel thing was funny too, because everybody knows the name and almost nobody knows the mechanic.
Right? It has elite branding for something most people are doing completely wrong.
The relax part is the part people skip, which is basically the entire point.
Like lifting at the gym and never putting the weights down.
And then there is the size obsession, which is probably the most socially engineered insecurity here.
Porn really did a number on everybody's idea of what is normal.
Especially because the data keeps pointing to average being what most people actually prefer.
Which is such a relief because average is doing a lot more work than people admit.
Average is carrying the whole species, apparently.
Honestly, average should get a trophy at this point.
The penis lengthening stuff was interesting because the evidence is real, but the risks matter.
Traction devices sound boring until you realize boring is often safer than flashy.
The medical world loves a humble strap with a long timeline.
That should be on a poster somewhere.
And I did not expect the nose length correlation to be the weirdest data point.
That study was so specific it felt like the universe was trolling us.
Big hands, big feet, none of it, but nose length somehow got the credit.
Nature really said, look at the face, not the shoes.
The labia conversation was also important because people confuse diversity with defect.
And the porn comparison thing is relentless because people assume there is one correct look.
But bodies are just bodies, and variation is not pathology.
That same logic applied to squirting too, because everybody wants one neat answer.
And the answer is basically, we know some things, but not enough to act arrogant.
Which is rare in health conversations and honestly refreshing.
I think that is the theme of the whole series, really. Less certainty theater.
More honesty, more literacy, and way less moral panic around bodies.
And maybe the biggest takeaway is that sexual health is just health.
Yeah, if it affects your body, your mind, your relationships, and your work, it matters.
Which means talking about it is not extra, it is necessary.
And a lot less awkward once you stop pretending everyone is fine.
That feels like the right note to end on.
Yeah, thank you for being here for all 3 episodes with us.
We hope this made the weird stuff feel a little more human.
And a little less lonely, which is really the point.
We will see you next time for more conversations people should have sooner.
Preferably before the internet teaches them something stupid first.